Hello everybody. Today we want to talk about couching, and I will show you a few examples, some on a very simple like embroidery hoop that I have here with a tiny little piece of fabric, and then I want to go into appliqué and reverse appliqué and apply that technique with variations to that. So before we start, I want to tell you what couching actually is. So couching is basically if we attach something to our surface with embroidery yarn. So I have like just a simple white thread on my needle here. I already made a little knot at the end, and this one we will use and to attach the black embroidery yarn that I have here. We want to attach that onto our fabric. I chose like black embroidery thread and I folded it like 4 times, so we have like 4 embroidery threads here, and I wanted to make it really big and loud so it's easier to see. So what I will do first, I will put a design on my embroidery thread. I just drew a circle there, and then I want to attach my black thread. So I will hold it in place, and it doesn't matter really where along the way I go, and I will just come out here where my line is, like be very precise where you are. So you want to be right on that line. So I come out here and I will either, you twist that together, or depending on what you use and what you want to attach, like hold that down with the other hand and then stitch back right next to the hole where you came out from. Don't go through this exact same hole again. Okay, that's pretty much couching, but I will do a few more to let you see. So you can choose, how far apart you want to have your individual stitches here. You can choose like a lot of different variations, and also which stitch to use. So I am doing just a straight stitch for now, just straight over. So you can also choose a zigzag stitch. You can do beads, you can do sequins, you can do like a lot of different possibilities. So they are almost like endless. And this is just an example of a very, very simple couching that goes around, and I can maybe do a frame around that circle here, come all the way over, and then at the end I will kind of overlap and blend it in so it's not visible where I started and where I ended. So this is basically the first step to try and see what it really is about. And after that, I will show you some examples on appliqué and reverse appliqué. Okay, as in preparation for my appliqué, I use a simple, like a knit fabric that I also use for my garment, and you will see that in a second. And it is just a plain simple t-shirt material that I dyed in an indigo blue, and just to make sure what you're looking for and what you need. So stretch material or a knit fabric is a good choice because it's nice and soft and it's easy to use. And I cut a strip out of that is about like 1/2 inch wide and very loosely going around my circle that I want to then finish with the couching technique. So I cut this on grain, meaning I cut it lengthwise. So if you look at a knit fabric, you always can stretch it sideways really easily, but you can also stretch it lengthwise just a little bit. So, and that's what I need. I cut it lengthwise so that it does not stretch too much while I work on it. If I would cut that strip sideways, it would be really stretchy, and that would then create, like, maybe would ruffle down or gather the material too much. So I want it as sturdy as possible. So that's why I chose the grain line for this one. So that is my preparation. And this is the material that I want to couch onto my t-shirt. My t-shirt is still in progress. So as if you watched my other tutorials about appliqué, so I used these patches here and did an appliqué onto my t-shirt. Then I have reverse appliqué or negative appliqué. That's those here where you attach, you know, you have the second layer of fabric underneath, and you do like embellishments or embroidery and whatnot, and then you cut out the top fabric. So that is the reverse appliqué. So I did a few of those here. And for this one here on top, I want to do the couching as an appliqué. And further down, I will do the couching as a reverse appliqué. So, and what I said before, we have a double layer of fabric here in the center panel of my t-shirt. So that is the white on top and the indigo underneath. And that's why I chose the indigo knit fabric, so I have a consistent look to it. For all of my garments, I always try to stay in a certain color range. I don't want to go too much into adventures left and right, you know. I just wanted to keep it simple and, you know, not to have too many variations. So I, now is the question what I want to use for the embroidery part of it. So I decided to go with a white thread because I have used it for many other things, and so I don't want to, as I said, too many variations. Okay, now that we have our couching material and the thread in the needle, I will do my first step here, and that is rolling up my material into a long tube so that the outside is kind of hidden on the inside here. And then I will just start with my couching. So I hold it up onto my line, exactly where I want to have it, and I will start embroider it on. So I make sure that my needle comes out right on that line, and then I will go over and go into it right next to it. And I go through both of my layers here. So the first stitch is always kind of the most difficult one because you have to hold everything in place. But you can see, you know, now that the stitch, it's always going kind of, the direction is always from the center outwards. So I make sure that I am not doing any crooked stitching here. So now my next one, I can choose to go, you know, like 1/4 of an inch over or whatever you want. So don't be locked into something. You can do a group of 3 and then make a bigger gap, or like that's what I want to do with this one here. I will group them together and then I can have a little bigger gap later on. So now that I am towards an end of my stitching row here, I want to finish it, and I will finish it by cutting it off just slightly longer so it overlaps a little bit, and then I tuck the one side under and the inside under and the outside over, so I can finish it in a nice way so it's almost invisible. Now I will go around and do some decorations to it. So it's a little blah like that, and I don't know. I want some variations, you know, like some kind of like maybe beads or something. So here is my circle that I did as an appliqué. So yep, it's kind of a nice like addition, because it adds some three-dimensional look to it. So it is, yeah, I like it. So this is basically a little step-up couching, because we have it made out of the material that we used for the t-shirt. And now I will do one more couching here. But I will use the reverse or negative appliqué. The next one, I have a different approach. So I will use the leftover strip from my previous couching, and I will, like at the previous one, I rolled it first and then I attached it. And for this one, I will try a different approach, and that means I will leave it flat. I will stitch one side to my t-shirt, and then I will roll this over and do the couching to fix it onto the t-shirt. So for my second couching example, I did the couching around the cutout. So at first I stitched the blue beads around it to secure both of those fabrics to each other. Then I cut out the inside here, same what I did on this one here or on that one. And then I did the couching here around the perimeter. And then I filled up a few blue beads in the middle. While I did that couching, I used 4 of those little tubing beads on each of those, and yeah, I like the balanced look now. So this is basically the second couching part. So that was my first one. So as a reverse appliqué or negative appliqué. So this is pretty much it, and I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I'll see you soon. My name is Edith Schneider, and I am the German tailor. Not only because Schneider means tailor and everything I teach comes with a German accent, but because I am a tailor and I am German. So it was always a lot of fun. Like I worked as a model, as a publisher in a magazine publishing company. I worked as a designer. I had my own business, store owner, studio owner, production. I worked as a buyer and seller, as a quality control, manufacturer, importer. So I don't mind. So many different roles, and I like to wear a lot of shoes. And therefore, I created that YouTube channel that is mostly about textile art and design and garment construction and pattern making. So if you like what you see, please share, like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.